All right, are we live right now? I wanted to make sure this is all correct because this is all crazy what's going on right now in Titan land right now. All right, it seems we are live right now, and that countdown that I just made may be a bit shoddy at best, but we're going to try to get through this. But because, oh my God, this just happened. L'Jarius Sneed is, in fact, a Tennessee Titan by way of a trade with the Kansas City Chiefs. And let me just, for those that are watching this for the first time, this is the first time I'm actually doing a quick live reaction. I was almost dead asleep. Today was my last day of chemo treatment. 6 treatments of that. Today was my last day. I run the bell at the doctor's office. So great highs for me. And I just can't wait to get all riling down with this. Wow. Rand Carthon, you really love doing your deals in the middle of the night, don't you? You just love, what's it right now? It is 10:45 Tennessee time right now. Central time. You love doing your deals in the middle of the night. So something's got to be up with Rand Carthon. He's a night owl. Rand Carthon is the official night owl of the Tennessee Titans right now. And oh my God, L'Jarius Sneed. You sport a secondary that is only in need of a safety now. Because now, once you get that safety need, either by way of free agency or the draft, you got yourself one heck of a secondary with Sneed, with McCreary, with Owuzie. I think his name is Owuzie. I just want to get all of my ducks in a row. Yeah, he came from the Bengals. Owuzie. Yeah, let's say, we're going to call him Owuzie. That's what it looks like. Wow, that all just went down. L'Jarius Sneed, after months of speculation, after so much going down of, are the Titans in the mix for L'Jarius Sneed? ADC Sports just did a segment the other day or today about Diane Rossini possibly dropping the news last week before Calvin Ridley got signed. Now we officially have him. L'Jarius Sneed is officially a Tennessee Titan, trading that blue and gold for the red and blue in Nashville, Tennessee. This is something to behold for our secondary. We have transformed officially our secondary with the Owuzie and Sneed. Just those two corners alone. Now you put Roger McCreary back in the slot. He is now your prime, you have your top three dogs in the corner. And if you're a Titans fan and you've been following this secondary for a long time, if you have any hope or sliver of hope for Caleb Farley to make an impact, he's going to make a bigger impact as your cornerback 4 on this roster now, because Sneed is going to get number 1, Owuzie is going to get number 2, or hey, there's word that maybe possibly Tre'Davious White from the Buffalo Bills could possibly sign with us, and then if that's the case, one of those guys could possibly move over to your free safety spot. And if that's, you've got an embarrassment of riches right now if you're on defense, and if you're Denard Wilson, who's now the defensive coordinator now for the Tennessee Titans, who was the Ravens defensive assistant with the team last year. Turned down a whole bunch of defensive coordinator jobs, and he chose Tennessee, and Rand Carthon's letting this defense cook. And man, to see where this might go come this season, it is really going to be really, really interesting, to be sure. In terms of what's going to be going on, in terms of going forward, what this means for the draft, from what I gather, and I have the article up here on ESPN, the Chiefs are expected to receive a 2025 third-round pick. We didn't have a third-round pick this year because we traded away last year so we can hopscotch everybody to get Will Levis in last year's draft. Now we go into this upcoming year's draft with our first and second round pick. We got the 7th pick and the 38th pick. It's got to be Joe Alt if he's there. If Malik Neighbors is still there, you got yourself a head scratcher of what you're going to do. Do you take the wide receiver or do you take the tackle? if Marvin Harrison Jr. somehow falls his way to you guys, I tell you what, if that does happen, then you're picking really well. But it's got like ever since the scouting combine, we've heard from Brian Callahan, the new Titans head coach, and we've heard from Rand Carthon, the now entering second year GM for the Titans. Rand Carthon, we have heard from them saying that they want pass catchers on offense and they want to prioritize that in the draft. Right now, Traylon Burks is your number 3 wide receiver. Calvin Ridley is your number 2/number 1, and DeAndre Hopkins is your number 1/number 2. They're 1A, 1B with Ridley and Hopkins. If you get Neighbors, Roma Dunze, or God forbid, if you somehow land Marvin Harrison Jr. in Tennessee at number 7, if you get any one of those 3 guys, Traylon Burks becomes your number 4 receiver, and then you must prioritize drafting a tackle in the second round, whether that be a Patrick Paul from Houston or whoever it may be. But according to Rand Carthon and company, they have shown, because of the addition of Bill Callahan on our offense, is that he has shown that this draft board could go various different ways of who we could possibly draft, just based on who we have as our offensive line coach now, who's regarded as one of the best in the NFL. Now, there are rumors today that we could take J.C. Latham from Alabama, and he's notably a right tackle. And if that were to be the case, is there a plan to put Nicholas Petit-Frere, our notoriously right tackle? He played left tackle in college at Ohio State, and then he played a bit at left tackle for us for the Titans before he got injured for the rest of the year. If you take J.C. Latham at 8, or you trade at 7, and then you trade back for J.C. Latham, is that the plan to make Nicholas Petit-Frere your left tackle? That's going to be interesting to go down. But if a gun is held to my head right now with how things are going on in Tennessee, if that happens, like if Joel Olt's on the board versus the wide receiver, I know for Will Levis' sake he needs the left tackle. But God, do I want him seeing with wide receivers like crazy, with Malik Neighbors in particular, or Marvin Harrison Jr. If it's Roma Dunze or Joel Olt, I'm picking Joel Olt. You have to get that left side center up. You got to get that left side center up with him. Pierce Gronsky, the cushion that now Levis has behind him with Lloyd Cushenberry. Looks like Daniel Brunskill is going to be coming back, and then whoever we got at right tackle, whether that be Nicholas Petit-Frere, MPF, or whoever wins out that job, or whoever we sign left in free agency. But L'Jarius Sneed, yes, there were issues with him that were noticeable throughout this process in terms of, does he have knee injuries? Does he have knee concerns? Any of that stuff? Is it anything of a concern that we should be wary about? I don't know the answer to that question in particular because of no one really knows, because when he was on the injury report pretty much all season last year, but he played the majority of his games. So when he plays the majority of his games and whatnot, and he's still on the field making impact plays, and he's just on the injury report just to be on it per se. If he's showing up for you on Sundays, that's nothing more you can ask of a corner. There's nothing more you can ask of him. And I just think what's going on in Tennessee right now, I tell you what, the draft can't come any sooner. The draft cannot come any sooner, and the Titans made out like bandits in the night. Like literally in the night with this trade. And just looking at this ESPN report again, the framework of a agreement they have been working on for days. Sources told Adam Schefter it will be formalized after Sneed passes his physical. It will make him one of the biggest, highest paid cornerbacks in NFL history. So Tennessee does have a lot of cap space. So now this is another chunk out of the pie, as Jerry Jones would famously say. That's another piece of the pie. We got to save some pie, as Jerry Jones would famously say. But in terms of making the highest paid corner, That's going to be really, really... So we're already making Lloyd Cushenberry now the highest paid center or the highest guaranteed money in the NFL that I'm aware of. We are now going to be giving the highest paid contract to L'Jarius Sneed in NFL history. I'm curious what that number is. And we signed Awuzie from Cincinnati for a 3-year, $36 million deal. And he tore up his Achilles or ACL a few years ago. And when you look at that deal, if he doesn't tear any one of his muscles up, that deal is probably worth $10 million more for the Titans probably. And so when you go into the tea leaves of that, of how we've struck deals with him, how we struck deals with Murray, how we struck deals with the defensive tackle we just brought over from the Chargers / San Francisco 49ers, the deals that, the Calvin Ridley deal. Like, that first year, he's making less than $20 million. When, if you average it out, he's like getting paid $21, $22, $23 million a year, but in actuality, his first year, he's actually getting paid less, and then he's going to get more on the back end. So I'm curious how this deal for L'Jarius Sneed turns out. As I'm going through this once again on ESPN.com. Sneed, 27 years old, did not allow a touchdown catch as the nearest defender in coverage all season until the Buffalo Bills playoff game in the divisional round this past playoff season. You realize how, that has to be music to every Tennessee Titans fan's ear. How many times have you seen Trey Smith? How many times have you seen Christian Fulton? How many times have we seen so many of our corners get beat down the field? Sean Murphy Bunting, I loved you last year. We're number 0, but Calvin Ridley just took that number from you. Oh my God, the amount of times these receivers would just get beat off the line one-on-one with speed or whatever with their coverages. Part of that's because of players, part of that's because of Mike Vrabel and Shane Bowen's horrid defensive philosophy sometimes in the secondary. But that's neither here or there because we're just talking about L'Jarius Sneed and our previous woes as a pass coverage. Because how many times in Titans games this past year have we lost games because we have failed to cover the deep ball? It was the deep ball that sealed the game versus the Saints. That's one win right there. It was the deep ball that got us out of the game versus the Colts in overtime. That's 2 games right there. And we finished 6-11. That's 8 wins right there. That's just 8 wins right there. And I can't imagine maybe there's another time in the Baltimore Ravens London game that could have been quelled in the secondary a bit. So that's maybe one more game. That's 9. And then can find one more in there from our other 10 losses that, had we had better secondary play. Oh, the Texans game in Tennessee. Of course. How could I forget about that? How in the world you let the third-string quarterback drive you down the field, picking your defenders apart? Come on. That's 4 wins. I just listed off 4 wins for you right there. Sneed accounts for 4 wins right there, and the Titans are in the playoffs last year if they have him on this roster. But in turn, again, this is my first time doing this live of a quick coverage of all this, and I don't know if my intro video got any sound because it's got awesome sound, by the way. But neither here or there, though. But in terms of what's going on, big picture Titans, they are going all in on Will Levis. They are trying to surround him not only with a competent offense for him to work around, but they're also trying to find ways for him to succeed as a leader of the team. Because right now we're putting the piece together on offense. It looks like we're going to be building that up through the draft. Maybe a few more free agent signings may be coming our way. But yeah, for sure, it looks like we're going to be going offensive tackle and wide receiver with our first 2 picks now in the NFL draft. That's official. And then we're going to get a safety with our 4th round pick, and we swapped a 7th with the Chiefs in this trade as well. So again, we made out like Tennessee made out like bandits in the night, like thieves in the night. We made out like bandits in the night. And this is unbelievable that we now live in a Tennessee Titans era where gone are the caveman days of Mike Vrabel. Gone are the 1985 ways of running a football team. Gone are the days where we're running the football with Derrick Henry. Yes, he did well for us. We appreciate what he did for us as a franchise and as a fan base. We appreciate what you have done for us, Derrick Henry. But you have been a blessing and a curse for us. You've been a blessing because you're the best thing we've had at running back since Earl Campbell, Chris Johnson, and Eddie George. You are a curse because everyone knows what we're going to be calling on offense whenever the team is going down the field and whatnot. In terms of everything else, outside of that, it's fair game now. It's just fair game. It needs to be addressed with this going forward is that the Texans may be making a lot of noise in free agency. They can't do much more. They can't do much more anymore. They don't have much cap space now. There's not much the Colts can do now because they are limited in cap space. Same with the Jaguars. So right now, until we get the numbers on the Sneed contract, the Titans still have some wiggle room to do. And I tell you what, like I said, the draft cannot come here any sooner. And that is going to be a fun night to watch where we take a bona fide left tackle in the first round as our staunch starter right beside Peter Skoronski for the next 10 years. Or we give Will Levis another weapon to have fun with DeAndre Hopkins, Calvin Ridley, and whoever we draft. And then, icing on the cake, if Treylon Burks can actually stay healthy, stay out of concussion protocol, and actually do well and like take his training camp hype and translate into the regular season, then you might have something there with Treylon Burks after all. But until then, we got to treat our offense as if Treylon Burks doesn't exist. In my opinion, we got to treat it like he doesn't exist at all for our offensive philosophy. We got Tony Pollard. We got Tajay Spears ready to lead the backfield in our passing game. And again, everything that has lined up with what the Titans have said from the coaching staff and the GM is all lined up in place with these moves right here. When Denard Wilson was interviewed, when he got the defensive coordinator job for our presser, he was asked, "What's your defensive philosophy?" And he said, he's essentially saying, our defense is going to be aggressive. We're going to get after the ball, and we're also going to beat you with our pass coverage. Every single move this offseason has been the reverse and out compared to what Vrabel has done the last few years. This defense is now built, assuming we can get someone else in free agency or in the draft at free safety. This defense is built to stop the pass now. It is built to stop the C.J. Strouds. It is built to stop the whatever you have down there in Indianapolis with Anthony Richardson. It is definitely built to stop Trevor Lawrence, even though, we saw what happened that last game of the year where he choked against the Titans and failed to take his team to the playoffs. We know we can stop it now with Trevor Lawrence now they're in Jacksonville. So now you're talking about how far can this Titans team take it to distance in terms of a division title and maybe our first home playoff win since the freaking Pittsburgh Steelers in 2002. That 2002 season where the kicker, did his famous acting stunt with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and then Bill Cowher was like, "That's a penalty. You look right here on this sheet. That's a penalty." Yeah. And so in terms of that, nothing much more for me outside of this quick reaction. Outside of Rand Carthon, you've already earned my trust already. You have definitely shown this fan base how serious you are. You have shown ownership, and you have shown your head coach in collaboration with Brian Callahan how serious you take of rebuilding this defense, how serious you take of building this winner in Nashville, Tennessee. So I look forward to this upcoming draft next month in April, and it's going to be fun to watch. And until next time, guys, this is a special edition of Cast It to the King. And as always, keep kicking it to the King.